You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for Happy Hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour, whiskey, cigar, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
Hey, I'm Matt Fox.
And we are in our Northville studios.
Downtown Northville.
That is it. We are having a riot here. And we are broadcasting. That's what we're doing.
We are live on Facebook.
We are.
We've got goodies in front of us.
And we have just a taste today.
Yes.
On the way, in the cup. What's on the way, Matthew?
Well, first, what's on the way are our friends from Kentucky. The Kentucky Bourbon Boys are dialing in right now, and we're going to do a tasting with them. Gentlemen.
I like it.
And how are you tonight?
Hey. How are you guys?
Hanging in there. Thanks for being very timely. 7 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock your time for Podcast World, anytime. So thank you for dialing in. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate that.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
So, we're pretty excited. I pre-gamed a little bit by mistake. I don't know how that ever happens on mistake. It's Fat Tuesday, right? But here in Metro Detroit, there's a small community called Hamtramck, a small city within the city. It's very steeped in the Polish heritage, and part of the Fat Tuesday tradition in the Polish neighborhoods is it's Punchki Day. Oh. It's this very decadent donut, basically, is what it is. It's like a Polish St. Patrick's Day raging in Hamtramck right now. People have been going since about 6 a.m, and there's tents and all kinds of shenanigans. And I'm like, well, I'll just stop in because we have friends that own bars down there.
Stop in.
I'll just stop in and say hi to the fellas, give a little support. And next thing you know, I was pre-gaming. It was an unwilling pre-game. So.
Did you pregame any bourbon then? Are you telling us that's what you were pregaming?
No, it was just some Polish beer and some Jezionówka, which is like a blackberry brandy, and so nothing, some kielbasas and some pierogies, and
man, I'm a bit jealous over here.
Yeah. It was a good time. That's a show in itself.
Yeah, right.
I'll tell you. But today it's actually we were going to do food and bourbon. You guys suggested that we pull out some Girl Scout cookies.
That's right. So, Jamie, Matt, this is Tony. I'm glad to join you guys this time.
Hey, Tony.
Thanks, Tony. Pleasure to meet you.
So we're brothers.
Oh, all right. Cool. Yeah, we were.
There's a couple more.
How many brothers are there involved with the Kentucky Bourbon Boys these days?
Well, there are 3 involved in the business.
Excellent. So I just love the fact that Kentucky Bourbon Boys, you guys are family owned and operated. For folks that have never heard of you guys, because help them understand what you do there in Kentucky, in the Louisville area.
Well, you're getting better at saying Louisville.
Thanks, man.
Almost there.
I was practicing, yeah.
Put a few more Girl Scout cookies in your mouth and then say it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
That's great. Yeah, so help.
We're a family-based custom and private bourbon tour operation here in Louisville, going into our 5th year.
Okay.
Right, and I think the guys covered it to some degree on the last call.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we focus on private tours. We let the clients customize the tour, select the distilleries of their interest if they're not sure.
Sure.
Then we kind of guide them along the process and make a perfect day for them.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And, part of the expression, but, you guys like the super, I hate to say the U word, but it's just people can pick and choose where they want to go. And there are so many distilleries there on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. You can't do them all, in a day. So having 2 or 3 that you really want to hit, and then, then you guys being there to help them get from point A to point B, and then from point B to point Z, that's just an amazing way to help folks around that area that don't know that area as well.
Well, you don't want to
you don't want to head out into some parts of the state and lose your cell service and your map app, and then you're like, I don't even know what to do now.
Right.
And that happens in a couple of areas, but not all, but certainly can happen to you. In fact, happened to us the first time we toured.
Right.
On our way to Makers. So it's you're out in the middle of nowhere. So that's the thing when you have somebody else take care of the driving on those country roads and get you there on time, get your tour when you're supposed to be there for it, because they're all prearranged, so they're not going to sit around and wait forever.
Right.
So that helps too. And a lot of people don't realize, it's an hour drive at least to the first distillery. So it takes longer just to get there, and then each tour is at least an hour something. So it makes a full day real quick.
Right. And then, there's so many other things to look out for and do down there. If they don't want to do a distillery, the eateries that are down there, the restaurants and the cigar lounges and the axe throwing, there's so many other activities that you can do. And you guys are there to help them get there and kind of point out what to do. Do I understand that right?
So, and it typically, as Tim said, it involves a full day. We normally pick up the clients at their lodging, between 8:30. Yeah. And they're back around 5:30. So it is a full day, and that's just with 3 stops and lunch. So we have had people ask before they'd like to do 4 or 5 distilleries in a day, but it's nearly impossible to squeeze in the 3.
Now, if you
and
plan,
then they usually are napping on the way home anyway.
So yeah.
And then they get a little power nap in on the way back.
Right. Hey, round 2. Here we go.
That's right.
But after our last our show together, you had we were connecting back and forth, and we had talked a little bit about the Old Forester 1910, and this is one of your go-tos that's on the shelf. Right, Mike? Michael, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's so smooth and so tasty that right now that's the one I'm pulling off every time I go over to the shelf. And I've got a big collection, but it's got a lot of flavor. It's a smooth drinker and a great story. Mm-hmm. I mean, they without the fire recreated the 1910 recipe, and at that time the bottling line caught on fire, and we had this bourbon sitting there ready to go in bottles and no bottles. Right. So they put them in some barrels they had sitting there, and they're charred almost to incineration. They're just like black. And what happens is that lower proof whiskey goes in there. It's 100 proof when it goes in, mm-hmm. and comes out. They and they bottle it at 93 proof, and it pulls those sugars out of that char. It makes a really sweet flavor to this bourbon, and that's what makes it so awesome.
And it's got a really dark color to it as well.
It does, and that's you look at that and you think, oh well, it's got to be a higher proof mm-hmm. Than what you're looking at. Yeah, or maybe it's a barrel proof or something, but it's just really a nice dark color.
So I'm looking forward to it. We cracked it, but I haven't even nosed it yet. I'm kind of waiting, saving myself at the moment so we can do this together. And Jamie's doing the same. He's just eyeing the bottle.
Third one right now.
So who's pre-gaming who?
Yeah. Holy smokes.
So we just had this conversation about sipping on this neat straight from the bottle. And then we tried it with just a small cube of ice. Mm-hmm. So we want you all to try the same thing.
If you've got any ice available, I don't know.
Yeah, actually,
just a splash of water, but nose the bourbon straight from the bottle. Mm-hmm. Take a little sip, and then try it again a few minutes later with a little bit of ice in it, and you'll notice a big difference in both the aroma and the smoothness once you've added just a splash of water.
Yeah, we do have some ice cubes.
Yeah, we are set and good to go with that.
Have you poured your glass then?
We just did.
Yeah, I got it in my hand. I smelled, nosed the bottle itself. Wow, that has got a really rich nose to it. Very, very caramel.
Yes.
In my world.
Yes.
Now, I know you guys know how to taste bourbon, right?
It's neat.
So
Any way I want?
It's because we've talked about this, and we no one's really dived into it because I had shared some ideas with Matt about that I had seen on a video, but nobody's really walked us through that about sipping it and then just quickly and then doing it a second time and the third time like chewing it. Is that kind of the process?
Absolutely. And I took a guy with me to a distillery one day, and he said, I don't drink bourbon, but I want to learn. And so they were pouring the tasting for everybody, and I had my back to him, and I heard him cough. And everybody stopped and kind of looked. And the guy doing the pour said, did you shoot that? And his face was bright red. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't talk. He was coughing. And we all just were amazed.
Cannonball.
And the guy said, that's only in cowboy movies, man.
Wow.
Cannonball. Yeah. All right.
But a lot of people don't know to take those 3 sips. And
All right.
they get that one alcohol first sip, and then they downline it.
Yeah.
So what is the second sip? How do you do the second? What's the process on the second sip? So the first sip, you just kind of drink it quickly, not shooting the whole thing, but drinking it quickly. And then the second sip, what do you do with that?
Well, first of all, on that first sip, swirl it around good all over your mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So kind of nice.
Your taste buds ready, and it's going to be all alcohol. It's all you're going to get. Really.
So it's like,
and you want a really small sip, just to get things ready. And then when people start off from bourbon and lots of different bourbon, you'd say, I don't care for this, but it's learning how to drink it. So then that second sip, swirl it around too and chew it, like you said, and you're starting to get some flavors.
Yeah.
And you'll start to taste the corn and the rye and everything. When you do that third sip, you're going to start tasting flavors, and you're going to get the vanillas first, probably, and the caramels and some pepper and those kind of things. And so 3 sips, but another, just not too long ago, somebody at a tour said, when you finish that swallow, exhale, because that dispels all of that alcohol vapor in your mouth.
Right.
And then you're going to have flavor and not alcohol. So, and no one had ever told me that before. So that was a really good tip, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I just exhaled out of my nose, get all the alcohol fumes out, but it, thick. It was kind of what's rusting on my palate is more of a thickness at the moment than anything else. It's a thick, sweet flavor that's lingering.
Yes. Yeah. What flavors are you tasting?
I'm getting the caramel. I am getting the vanilla. I always get caramel and vanilla. That I always get that because my palate is there. But I'm getting I'm not feeling the heat as much as I thought I would. I'm really not.
Yeah.
I get the char oakiness. I do get that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's a smoke. I wouldn't necessarily the char, but there's when I nosed it as I was taking that last sip, and I got a nice smoke.
Yeah.
Smell.
Yeah, and it's probably from that deep char on those barrels.
Yeah.
That's probably why you're getting that. But that's really good. You did a good job on that.
Well done, Jamie.
I said, all I taste is honeysuckle because I every time I drink a bourbon, I'd say it tastes like bourbon to me. And it took a long time to start developing the palate, and I've still got a long way to go. But sometimes you'll drink one, and boy, it's like I'm tasting brown sugar or toffee or something like that, or even nuts. You get a nutty flavor from some of them. But yeah, if you do your 3 sips here and you get a lot of flavor by that third one, and then exhaling really helps too to get more flavor and less of the alcohol.
Every once in a while, fellas, we'll dive into a cigar. A lot of folks say darker the drink, darker the cigar. I gotta say this would be almost better with a lighter cigar than anything else, a lighter wrapper for a cigar to pair this with. What are your thoughts if you've had cigars in the past? Gosh, I'm sure you have. What type of cigar would you kind of pair this with yourself?
Definitely a lighter or milder cigar.
Okay.
And we do tend to partake of the cigar, typically on Derby time. It's a tradition after the big race that we'll break out the bourbon and sit down and smoke some cigars and then reflect on the day and rub each other about who lost, who won, and how much you lost. And have that cigar with a bourbon. We'll make mint juleps all day, but at that point, we're ready for just a nice bourbon and a sipper to sit around and talk about horses and cigars we're having. But we're not as into cigars as you guys are, and that's a definite area I can't add much to the conversation.
So no, we're even more novice with our cigars than we are with the bourbons. Really, we there's a cigar bar really close to where we live, the Ambassador, and we pop in there to do the podcast now and again. And the manager there, he usually sits down and educates us. He's our wealth of knowledge, and we're just okay, Nathan. Yes, Nathan. He's like, we just pull the info from them and try to enjoy them along the way.
You just sit back and smoke.
Yeah. So anything bustling, anything new?
What's that?
Well, there's a place here called Match that we need to get connected with you guys on one of the episodes, and then he can do the same here, talking about bourbons and cigars and be much more knowledgeable.
Hey, Jamie, road trip.
Dude, there's so many places to visit. Our wives are going to be insane with us, or maybe they'll be happy we're leaving town. I don't know. So anything bustling, anything new coming out of Kentucky? There, any news from the Bourbon Trail?
Oh wow! We talked about that last time, and I told you I was going to make a list, and I've started it, but I don't have it with me right now because of this Girl Scout business.
Oh yeah. Hey, we'll focus on the cookies today, and then the next time we'll check in and we'll go through what's going to be new and different in 2020 here. Heading into as the season goes. It's I think the last time we talked to you guys, it was about 5 degrees outside.
Yes.
And then today we're looking ahead. They're predicting 8 to 12 inches of snow overnight here in Michigan. So yeah, Daddy's looking for a snow day. So
we don't care for that. We're just having rain and it's 40.
Yeah,
so we'll take that.
Trade you.
So you got some cookies in front of you. Probably the mafia came down here yesterday and brought us our cookies, and we handed over our money before they did anything to us. So we've got 5 different ones here.
Okay.
Right. So we're sitting in front of a box of Samoas, the lemon cookies, tagalongs, Thin Mint, the ever popular Thin Mint.
Yeah. And the Dosey Dos.
So we have 2 boxes. We have 2 boxes in front of us as well, because one of our favorite places we go to, fellas, is called Keiko's, and Mr. Keiko's, you walk in and he's got an incredible selection of spirits and bourbon and whiskey, and right to the side of him, he's hawking his Girl Scout cookies as well. So
he's got a couple preteen daughters, there you go.
I got everything in one spot, and we ended up walking away with the Thin Mints and a box of Samoas. So if you want to crack open the Thin Mints or the Samoas, you can do that.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Yeah. All right. So which one do you guys want to start with? And we'll do a tasting discussion here.
Let's start with the Samoas.
All right. Fair.
All right. Okay. So we had this debate before the call whether or not you should taste the cookie first and then the bourbon.
Right.
Or a sip of the bourbon and then the cookie.
Ooh.
What's your thoughts on that?
I want my palate to have the bourbon on it first, and then add the cookie to it.
All righty. Okay. So we'll do it that way.
Bourbon first.
All right, so we're going to sip some 1910 Old Forester, and we're going to try a Samoa here first.
Yeah. Nothing like chewing on the radio.
Yeah, right? Okay.
So I believe the caramel in the bourbon is being enhanced by that cookie. because obviously it has caramel in it. So
Yeah.
it's just bringing out a lot of additional flavor.
Wow. Didn't expect to
So I'm
really feel
getting
that.
a little bit of nuttiness too, and I wonder if a coconut's adding to that. If that's,
You know, because they do bake this, that they do bake the coconut, and then they add it to this thing. So I would imagine that's where I'm getting that as well. That oaky nuttiness to the cookie. That's fun. That's a fun pair. I'm gonna go for another.
And of course,
Yeah.
the chocolate's always good too. I'm a big fan of bourbon and chocolate. So
I like those the fancy pants, little pomegranate covered chocolates and a little blueberry covered chocolate, whatever. I forget the name of it. But it comes in a little fancy pouch. And my wife Colleen's always like, "Don't eat my chocolates," and I'm like, "Try to stop me." And then she'll throw a shoe at me, and I go, "Yep, that stopped me." But yeah, and I like those. Just a couple of those while I'm having the bourbon. It's really nice. So the chocolate, yeah, it
Pulls it out. It really does pull it out. Pulls out more of that caramel, more of that
We'll
vanilla.
give you a chocolate at the end of the tour with your tasting and on the last drink. And some of them are bourbon balls they give you with your tasting. But there's a local chocolate place here that makes different candies and infuse it with different bourbon.
ooh.
Yum.
And, it's amazing. And when you there's an orange flavored one paired with Angel's Envy bourbon.
Oh, wow.
And when you drink that bourbon on the tasting and eat that orange chocolate, your head explodes. And it's like how we always eat this candy when we drink bourbon because it's fantastic.
Oh, sounds like fun.
So I'm getting actually more of a bite in the bourbon
With the chocolate?
with the cookie. Like
Really?
when we first tried it, you're like, "Yeah, I'm not getting too much of a bite," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's not that hot, really." But now that we're doing the cookie along with it, I'm getting more of a bite on the tip of my tongue.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And
Yeah.
I just took a sip and it's doing that. And it's interesting how it's pulling that out.
Wow. Actually, thank you, Jamie. You know, I wasn't really paying that close of attention to it because, you know, I enjoy a good cookie.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned that, and it just really kind of enhances that spice a little bit.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yay.
Let's, if you don't mind, let's put an ice cube in our glass and try
All right.
another one of those cookies.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to, after Punchki Day and cookies and bourbon, might be thumbing a ride home with Matthew here. Oh.
We're gonna claim we don't know you then.
Yeah.
I don't know who those guys are.
Ah. All right.
Boy, that really changes the flavors.
You got the ice in there?
we noticed earlier that adding the ice, you pick up a lot of maple aroma.
Maple syrup. Yeah, maple
when you
syrup.
nose it.
All right.
Gets to the alcohol a little bit.
Yeah, I can see the oils starting to move around,
So we both just added one ice cube.
but it's the size of my head.
It's one of those spherical, those round balls.
It'll melt slow. But that really opens it up.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. That is really, that does open that up.
Do you taste any florals in there? Anything that reminds you of like a floral scent or taste in there?
As it sits on my palate, you know, it does get a little bit sweeter. I start to taste a little bit of that floral, but I can't place the floral. I really don't have a word for it, but it's just continuing to linger.
But I just noticed that.
It's there. I just can't. I don't have the adjective to explain it.
Maybe it's honeysuckle. That's it.
See, and that's what we were talking to somebody about, you know, tasting and all the tasting notes and how to be a better taster and how to do that. And it's because you've mentioned honeysuckle twice, and I don't know if in my realm of experience I've had honeysuckle. So, and that's what the person suggested is that you have to try a lot of things.
So you don't eat honeysuckle very often?
You go to the grocery store and go to the farmer's market and just pay attention to smells. Go to a spice shop and smell things and experience it. So when you are tasting it, you have a frame of reference. And because you guys have mentioned honeysuckle twice, and I go, I don't know if I've ever really had something honeysuckle.
Right.
Oh, that's might be a Kentucky thing. That's we grew up as little rednecks and you picked a honeysuckle and
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
you get that nectar from it, and it was a little sweet. So that's why.
did that all the time in Ohio when I would be down there visiting family. Honeysuckles would be on the trees and the bushes. You just right then and there.
So I don't know if that's not really a Detroit thing. It's sucking exhaust is what I did in Detroit. Running from the cops and sucking exhaust fumes. That was my childhood.
If you ever see honeysuckle growing by the side of the road, just stop and start sucking on it.
There you go.
See what the passersby think.
All right. We're going to keep this PG.
We're going to try the Samoa again with the ice cube, or do you want to go on?
Yeah, no.
I'll do another Samoa, but you guys had mentioned the mint julep earlier, so I'm kind of curious as how the thin mint is going to level up with a mint julep, and that's going to give a reminiscent of a mint julep almost.
That's a good point. Well, I have not tried this cookie with this bourbon yet, so that'll be interesting to see what we notice. But mint juleps get a pretty bad rap. But if you know how to make a good one, make it the right way, our derby party, I make them and I can't leave the bar because people come back and ask for another one. So we figured that out, and the first rule is quit with the premixes because that isn't going to cut it. Right. But use your own ingredients, and people really love them.
Tim, you and Jamie should go bowling sometime because this man, he loves a mint julep.
Yeah.
He really does enjoy making a mint julep. You do that for 4th of July?
Yeah.
Or is that 4th of July parties that you do that for?
Sure.
Oh, whenever. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the deck's open. So when the summer and the deck's open, we're spilling them.
Yeah.
We typically drink them at Derby, but it makes sense that it would be a good summer drink.
Yeah.
So that bite with the ice in it, that bite has ceased or eased. It's definitely eased up. It's
kind of took away a little bit.
Yeah,
and there's a decidedly more sweetness to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because it's a second cookie or.
I think the chocolate has something to do with that. No, the chocolates really bring out the sweetness of the Old Forester 1910. And being at a 93 proof, it wouldn't have that much of a bite to begin with. But as we're adding and taking away, it just, the two together are just so much fun. Thank you for doing that.
Well, I looked up the recipe or the mash bill, and so this bourbon is 72% corn.
Yeah.
Corn is sweet, right? So you have that, and then you have 10% barley, and then 18% rye. So there's more rye to it, which is going to give it the pepper notes and the spicy flavors. So it's almost twice as much of the rye in there as the barley grain. So that's why I think we both hit that a moment ago where it was on the tip of our tongue. It got really spicy for us.
So much fun.
It's kind of moved to the middle sides of my tongue with the pepper flavor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
It lingers, but it lingers so nicely. It really does. And everyone likes to use that word smooth. There are so many better words than smooth, and just trying to stay away from that word is always fun. But I want to really find out what this thin mint's going to do for everybody. I want to sit back and listen to what you guys think is going to happen here.
Okay. Are you ready to go thin mint then?
Jamie, are you ready to go thin mint? Or are you ready? Are you just still?
Sure.
You're kind of just lingering on that Samoa.
Sure. No. Yeah. I inhaled that one. So. Yeah.
All right. So, thin mint is. I can never eat just one, guys. I don't know about you, but you sit down with a box of Thin Mints, and next thing you know, you're on your second box of Thin Mints. So that's why you buy 5 and 6 boxes. All right. So do you want to go the opposite way where we did cookie first and then we do bourbon, or you want to go bourbon then cookie first? You want to go with the opposite?
Go cookie first.
Sure.
Go cookie first.
All right. You definitely get the mint right off the bat.
Yep.
With that cookie. And, of course, the delicious crunchy chocolate.
Mm-hmm. That's our crunchy cookie.
Whoa.
That really put like the flavor on the back of my throat.
Oh, wow.
And a little burn there.
It's because of the crispy cookie, I think.
Yeah.
And as the bourbon washed in and washed over it, it was like this surge, like everywhere through my mouth with the crunchy cookie, and it didn't dissolve. It held up for.
It did hold up.
It held up with the liquid there. It didn't just disintegrate.
Jamie actually put his hands up in the air like he was on a roller coaster. Whoa! What is that?
So I definitely agree that it just washes over the front of your tongue, and then you pick up all the flavor and heat in the back.
I can never have just
really
one.
Tastes very different than it did earlier. I'm not getting the caramel now.
No, not at all.
At all.
Yeah, it's got that ice cube in it, so it's it's a little more diluted. The bourbon is, but which is probably a good thing with the mint on top of that. I can only imagine what my taste buds would be doing right now if it wasn't on ice.
Yeah, surprisingly, the mint flavor is really hanging in there.
Yeah,
even with all the alcohol.
Yeah,
could be our new mint julep.
We could put these with the mint juleps and like as a garnish.
That's true. It'd be great.
You have to have the willpower to not eat them all before. save a box or two till race day.
Mm-hmm.
I think people really enjoy that with their mint juleps.
The thin mints work great. Put them in the freezer. They keep for a very long time, so they'd make it to Derby.
Yes, they would. You're not wrong. You're absolutely. I'm a purist, and I love a good Samoa every once in a while, but those sometimes have to be frozen for me as well. So I've had a box of Samoas in my freezer for weeks and months at a time, and then all of a sudden, I forgot I had those.
Yeah.
Now I know exactly what to do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the MSRP on the Old Forester 1910, this is not a bottle that you'd want to go through on very quickly, because for here, out here, it's about $63 or so on the MSRP.
Was it 63?
Yeah, roughly. Actually, no.
I thought it was 54.
It was 54, but then I added the cookies to it, so that's why it was 63.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about $54 on the MSRP. So it's not terrible, but this is not a something you want to use as a daily drinker. This is something on its more celebratory side, or as a nice gift for somebody.
A very nice gift for somebody, and you don't want to waste it on somebody who is fine with a bottom shelf bourbon, or they put Coke in it or whatever. You don't want to.
Right.
You don't want to waste this on that kind of a friend. So you're going to save this for somebody who would appreciate a nice flavored whiskey.
Agreed. Jamie and I have had plenty of bourbons and whiskeys together, and there are sometimes there's some out there that you want to take it home and marry it, something you just want to play around with if you're out and about in the town, or you're dead to me, never again.
That's our rating system. It's screw, marry, kill.
Kill, marry, screw. However you want to say it.
Kill, marry, screw. It's is it dead to me? Am I marrying it and taking it home, or I'm just going to screw around out on the town with it? And
this is something I want to take home.
I would marry this bottle for sure. Yeah, I would have this one on my shelf at home.
Mm-hmm. But if you're ever in the Podcast Detroit Northville studios, you may not find it because it might be on my shelf at home.
You're going to take this one home with you.
Excellent.
Well, we did the tour at Old Forester the other day. Check out the new one on downtown Louisville, and 1910 was on the tasting.
Oh, wow.
Along with the 1890s or the 1870 version was on the tasting too.
That's the old original batch.
Yeah. And I was surprised that they had the 1910 on the tasting. But they really produced a lot more after they saw the popularity when they came out with it last year. It just flew off the shelves, and all the hunters were out looking for it, and flipping it, and chasing it. And so they produced a lot more this year. So you can find it pretty easily now. Yeah.
So 1910 was a newer product just in the last year then?
Yeah, it was the fourth one in their series, what they call the Whiskey Rose series. And it started with the 1870, which is when they started distilling, and then 1897, which is when the Bottle and Bond Act was passed.
Right.
And then 1920, which is when the Volstead Act was passed, which was prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 1910 came along as the last one in that series.
Because of the fire, yeah. Wow, all right. I didn't see, and again, these are things that we call on experts to help fill in the gaps for us.
And I had mentioned this on our last episode, Jamie, but I had just watched a documentary on Hulu, and the name of the documentary is called Neat, N-E-A-T. And fellas, if you haven't got a chance to watch that yet, please do. It is very informational. It is very well done documentary, and it does go around a number of distilleries there in Kentucky, and even ones that used to be there. There's a guy that he's digging for distilleries. It's such a well done documentary. So I would recommend you guys checking that out.
It's very nice. I think you would enjoy it. It's like 40 minutes, I think. Mm-hmm. Not too long, but really well done. Very well and you get a really good understanding of what's going on and how it developed here and what makes good bourbon come out of Kentucky.
So I'm assuming you've seen it.
I'm the only one that hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But we went to the premiere here in Louisville when it came out.
Oh, fantastic!
Guy was sitting next to us, and we were talking to him, and we said, we're excited to see this film, and he said, "Yeah, I worked on it."
Oh, wow!
And then they announced it was ready for the program to start, and he got up and he went up to the microphone, and he was the guy that made the film.
I thought you were going to say Steve. We were talking to Steve Zahn. That's what I thought you were going to say. Well, that's even better.
I'm glad we didn't say anything inappropriate to him, but he was a nice guy, and he told us that they had a whole storyline for that film in mind and were working on it. But then when they met the two main people that they focus on in that documentary, it changed everything, and this really went to town. Talking to them and having them add their stories to it, and it just changed the whole film.
It's so well done. Thank you. I'm glad you guys have seen it. I've been raving about it for the past couple of weeks. So thank you.
All right. So you guys had a couple other Girl Scout cookies. Our pusher only had 2 packets
our pusher?
for us.
Did you say our pusher?
Oh, yeah. I said that on the radio this weekend. I said, the pushers are all over the streets. It's insane. The pushers are back.
We have,
the Girl Scout cookies.
We have the lemon here.
Right.
Lemon's a favorite of mine. And in fact, during the summer, I don't drink a lot of bourbon in the summer. But when I do, I like to mix it with a little bit of lemonade.
Fair.
And so I think we ought to try this lemon cookie.
You guys, go for it.
We'll tell you all what we think.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to keep drinking on this Old Forester 1910.
I know, and I'm killing these. I'm killing the
going down quickly, are they?
Thin mints.
Oh, are you? I'm going to take them away from you?
No.
Oh, okay. Bite my hand off?
So the lemon cookie, the base of it's basically covered in sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So you taste a lot of sweetness right off the bat, a lot of lemon flavor, which I love again. So we're going to taste the bourbon now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's got a huge finish on it with the lemon.
Is there a sweetness to it?
Yes, it's a little tart on the roof of my mouth and in the back, but it's all lemon, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, so similar to the thin mint, the front of your tongue is coated with the sugar and the lemon, so you're getting a lot of the flavor from the bourbon in the back of your mouth. But Very, very good.
That completely tastes like a different bourbon.
Nice.
Yeah. So when you hook up with your pusher, grab a box of lemon.
You know,
Give this a try. You won't be disappointed.
I kid you not, because I told Matt I would be here earlier than I was, and I detoured because I knew we only had the 2 boxes, and I was like, oh, where are the Girl Scout cookies? And I'm like, I just kind of Googled, where can I find Girl Scout cookies? There is, believe it or not, a Girl Scout cookie finder app.
Are you effing kidding me?
I am not kidding you. And so I downloaded it, and it said that they were at this mall, like probably 6 miles from here. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to swing by there. It was kind of on my way, just about 2 miles out of the way. So I would detour over, and but I couldn't. They weren't there. They weren't. But it said they'd be there till 8 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, good. I'll grab the 1 or 2 boxes, other boxes that we don't have. But there's if you are a Girl Scout cookie fanatic, there's an app. And it just click on find cookies now. Can I use your location? And it tells you where all the troops are. Cause they, at different cell phone places and, malls and grocery stores and pet places, they're set up at different times. And here in the Metro Detroit area, they have the locations of all where all the pushers are working.
You should have gone down 8 Mile because they'll set up right outside the dispensary.
Oh my gosh, yeah! Did you see that story where the one set of Girl Scouts set up outside the marijuana dispensary, and they said they sell out every day.
Well, it is the mafia.
The little green.
I'm not surprised they have an app for that.
Little green mafia, yeah.
That's fun.
All right, so those lemons exploded on you, huh?
They did. I'm still tasting the lemon.
They did, but I jumped ahead to a tag along, and
Sure.
man, it was just spice.
Spice?
You would think with all that peanut butter and chocolate
Yeah.
that you'd get all kinds of caramel and cocoa and other flavors, and it's just spice.
I'll have to try that out. Because I do like it.
Each cookie has been so different than what the bourbon's tasting like.
I do like spice.
He's going to check me and see here.
The bourbon is changing decidedly with the different cookies and going back. You can go back after having the Thin Mint and then going back to the Samoa. Mm-hmm. It's different yet again.
Yeah, but I would agree with him. I'm definitely tasting more of the pepper in the bourbon and more in the front of my palate than the back, than with the lemon or the mint.
I did not expect that. I thought this was going to be like the perfect combination because I like tag-alongs. I eat those like you guys eat some of those you were talking about earlier. And it's all spice is what I'm getting.
Oh, that's good.
So much. Yeah, I can't. I'm going to have another Samoa. Can't stop eating this stuff.
All right. So had you guys, do you normally, because I've never really had cookies with my bourbon. I've never done that. I've had the chocolate. I've had the little pomegranate covered chocolates.
Yeah.
But I've never done cookies with my bourbon before.
Well, there's a peanut butter bourbon out there as well.
Oh,
I know you're not.
I don't like peanut butter. I'm not a peanut butter guy.
But to do that in the chocolate, I've done that before. That was a very interesting pairing. But I'm curious what the tag along is going to do because I was just straight up chocolate. But to pair it with other with like Jamie said, the pomegranates or what have you. I just like to drink bourbon, but I don't like to add a lot to it because I want to enjoy it. But this adds a different sense of adventure for me personally. And thank you for saying, you know what, let's do this. Let's do this pairing. Let's have some fun.
Well, we knew that they were coming out right about this time, and so we called our source in the mob, and they got it to us yesterday. We were able to get it taken care of so we could do this. So, I was thinking about we did an event here a couple of years ago, and they paired country hams with different bourbons.
Country hams.
And I didn't know what to expect, and we went in there, and it was just something else. I mean, I tasted hams that I've never seen before. And each one was paired with a different bourbon, and it was there was a whole rationale for each pairing, and it made sense, and they were great.
Hey, Jamie, you know what that means? Another road trip.
I'm thinking.
No.
Do you guys come out to Detroit to pick folks up too, or?
Yeah, we could use a ride.
We can make a special trip.
Yeah,
We
right.
got a couple of our family members are pilots, and we can have them come up and bring you down here for the day.
That sounds like fun. Awesome, fellas. What would you like to do next? I want to kind of prep everybody for the next time that we get together. What would you like to drink on next together? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think we should follow up on what's new and coming here in bourbon country for the spring, because we're here getting ready to go into March, and just so you know, our bookings are going through the roof right now. So the spring is just lit up right now.
That's fantastic.
And so people are asking, what we want to do, something unique or different, and we've been before. What can we do? So we'll put together a good list of the things that are happening. So maybe that would be a good topic for next time. But I think having a bourbon along would be great.
Well, if
you guys
yeah,
have one you'd like to try.
Yeah, if there's maybe a new expression from somebody, something that we can get up here and you can get down there, a new expression of something as we talk about the new stuff for the spring in 2020 on the Bourbon Trail.
Yeah, we'll look at that and we'll shoot you a message, and we'll get something planned and be ready for the next one.
You got it.
And talk about what people might want to know about that's going on down here.
So now here's a quick brag. We're doing a launch here in Detroit. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, because I don't think it doesn't come out of Kentucky. But there's a new bourbon, Joe Louis bourbon. Have you heard of that?
No.
So yeah, there's a new bourbon launching. They just bottled on 2/20/20.
Yes.
They bottled their first bottles, and they're doing the gold. It's Joe Louis, the boxer here. He's a Detroit native, and they're kind of honoring. It's not really a celebrity brand. It's more of a lifestyle brand is how they're positioning it. And every money from every bottle is going to youth athletics, specifically boxing athletics, Golden Gloves. And the launch here in Detroit takes place 2 weeks before the Golden Gloves. There's two Golden Glove happenings, one in Grand Rapids and one here in Metro Detroit. And this is launching 2 weeks before that with us. And then at those two Golden Glove events will be the first time that it's available for retail purchase. But our tasting is going to be a tasting for select folks here in the Metro Detroit area. The cat that's doing it, they're out of Maine. And he's just a total sports and Joe Louis fanatic, and he really wanted to honor the Joe Louis legacy. And so, yeah, we got that coming up. That's kind of fun. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And that's on the horizon for us here in Detroit. I didn't know if you had heard about that bourbon. It is, so they're, we're going to get the story from them about where the juice is coming from and how long it's been in the barrels, and all that as we get to talk to them coming up on, it's going to be April the 14th here in Detroit at
Day
the Detroit
before
Shipping
tax
Company.
day.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
but
yeah.
get your taxes done early. Yes.
So we'll have a bottle of Joe Louis, for you guys at some point.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun. I'll be interested to see what that's all about.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat story that they're supporting the youth sports. So I mean, so many young kids. Because my kid played hockey, and it's like if I had more than one kid, I don't know if my kids would be playing anything except hopscotch in the street with chalk. It's like, here you go, man. Because the one playing hockey was like crazy expensive. I can't. If people who have 3-4 kids like playing sports, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I have three grown up daughters, and they did their gymnastics, they did their soccer, but they really they decided to do the piano, which was a lot cheaper than sports. So thank you, girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to make them practice once in a while.
Oh, come on, Dad.
Right on.
But fellas, thank you for the time this evening. Really appreciate your partnership and, tasting a bourbon with you, having some fun with the Girl Scout cookies, and, really looking forward to our continued conversation.
We are too. Y'all are awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jamie, Matt.
Thank you.
Fellas, thank you.
Be well.
All right.
Bye.
All right, so there you go. Man Cave Happy Hour, mancavehappyhour.com, Man Cave Happy Hour on all the socials. Like it, subscribe it, live it, love it.
Jamie will stalk you vigorously after the fact.
The Kentucky, good old Kentucky Bourbon
They're so much
Blues
fun.
Boys. I didn't do that to them, to their face. I'll do it to their face next time.
Kentucky Bourbon Boys.
So, yeah.
And I didn't want to say the U word, but they're super uber. They really are down there.
They are.
Yeah.
Crap. The cookies, they're made in Louisville.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why
I was reading the box.
That's why they know they're the mob.
So they're right down there. It's a ring. It's a damn conspiracy.
They
with
know
all these Kentucky,
firsthand.
all these Louisville people. Yeah. But yeah, no, I just noticed that on the box. So Brian checked in, Bob checked in on the site, and Sam checked in on the site.
Thanks, guys, for checking
Terry
in.
checked in on the site while we were broadcasting. Appreciate everybody.
Yeah.
Cruised on through and on by, hanging out with us in the man cave. We'll do it again.
Yes.
Again, appreciate your time. We appreciate your likes. We appreciate your subscribes.
Yes.
Do it all.
And my ice cube just broke the heck up.
Yeah, that was
that was fun.
all right. I think that does it for us.
Yes. Cheers, Jamie.
Cheers.